We're proudly here to announce Sheetal Sheth, interviewed by Harish Rao. Talented, driven, beautiful, and motivated, Sheetal Sheth epitomizes the modern Desi woman. Thank you again to our sponsors at Bindi Jewelers. In a moment, Harish Rao, Sheetal Sheth, and the owner of Bindi Jewelers. Stay tuned.
This is Harish Rao with DesiYou, and I'm here, it looks like I'm in the middle of Dubai, but I'm actually not. I'm actually in the middle of Artesia with Bindi Family Jewelers. This is the owner, Samad. Have him say a few things about your store.
Well, this is a family business that's been running for multiple generations, and being in the US, I'm the third generation that's helping out the business, and we like to serve people in a real old-fashioned way by having the family members, do the selling and showing the pieces to all different clients.
And Samad's been gracious enough to actually allow us in because we have a very special interview. Let's go ahead and check it out. All right, so Samad, tell us a little bit about the location. How long have you been here in this location?
Well, we've been in Los Angeles for now 20 years, and we moved from Canada, so U.S. has been our hometown for the last literally 20 years.
Excellent. And we're actually upstairs at Bindi Jewelers, and this is the entryway into our special interview. So, I feel really embarrassed. We were supposed to have a special interview, as I mentioned, but she didn't show up, and I feel really bad. I'm here at Bindi Jewelers, a wonderful location. I'm joking. The special interview that we have today is with the actress Sheetal Sheth from Looking for Comedy in the Muslim World. Hope you enjoy. It's going to be a wonderful treat today. All right, Sheetal Sheth. This is our special interview, by the way. This is the one. Anyway. So Sheetal,
yes.
I finally get a chance to interview you. I've been waiting to do this for so long time.
Alone, you mean like one-on-one?
Yes,
okay,
yes,
like we have
on camera. Yeah, yes, because we have our own. So, please tell us, because now Sheetal Sheth has just done a movie called Looking for Comedy in the Muslim World with Albert Brooks, just opened up.
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful achievement. And let me go ahead and start off. And what's the latest news as far as that's concerned? Can you please, well, actually, before I say that, can you tell us about the audition process for Looking for Comedy in the Muslim World? How did that go?
Long process. It was probably the longest I've ever had to endure, which I don't recommend for anybody. Well, Albert doesn't really have anyone read scripts ahead of time. He's very private about it, so there's no script available, and I didn't find out until after I got the part that the sides we were auditioning with, actually he just wrote that were somewhat related to the actual parts, so even that wasn't really from the script. And, I met with him and we talked, and then I was put on tape, and then I read, and it was months and months and months of just kind of biting your nails and hoping that you would hear something. And then they would always say, if you get to the last kind of meeting with Albert, he's known to like to tell his actors in person that they got the part. So it looks good if you get to that. And I got the call, and I went into his office, and before I met him, I had to sign all these confidentiality agreements. So I thought, okay, so he's going to tell me something about the movie at least. And that was promising. And then it was the most fascinating few hours I had with him. He kind of acted out the whole movie for me. He told me all about it. Then we cold read from the movie because my character's scenes are primarily with him. And then at the end, he told me some nice things and then told me I got the part.
And how was that? How was the last part, though?
Oh, God, it was... he was so nice and so sweet and so real, and knows he's an actor, so he knows what we go through. So he knew exactly what to say that meant the most. And I was, I think, in shock a little bit because it didn't really register, and I thought, is this for real? Is it really going to happen? And so I don't think I really expressed how excited I was, and I left there thinking, hey, I think I got the part, and I'm glad he called me actually 4 or 5 hours after that. He was like, you're good, right? You should go celebrate or something. And I'm like, so happy he called me because I don't think I expressed how excited. I'm like, no, I'm really excited. Don't worry, you made the right decision.
It was like excited enough.
Right, no, it was nice to kind of then have that moment to say to him everything I wanted to say that I was completely tongue-tied with earlier.
Right. Now, a lot of people, they always ask about the movie and how it's done and all that kind of thing. I want to ask a different question. The movie premiered at the Dubai International Film Festival.
Yes.
Obviously, there's a lot of controversy over the title. That kind of
for
whatever reason, right? Tell us a little bit about the Dubai International Film Festival premiere. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
It was amazing. I've never been in such an international place like Dubai. I've never been there, and I've heard about it, and it really is. Everybody from the world is represented there. I mean, you're sitting in, first of all, a beautiful theater, extremely, just the way it was set up, the architecture, the decoration of it, and it was gorgeous. And literally you're sitting next to people from Turkey, Syria, Lebanon, Australia, Europe, every European country, American country. I mean, you're so in the mix of everybody from the world, which is really exciting. And then to see them watch a movie like this, which I do think is universal, but it's this kind of satire, so to get that part of it, and everybody got it. I was worried. I'm like, oh God, I hope it translates, to these different cultures, and how does comedy do that, and so forth. And people were laughing, and they had a really good time. Some of the royal family came, and they had Albert go sit up there. It was like this whole thing about that, and
was there a nervousness though as you went into the premiere of like, because it's actually looking for comedy in the Muslim world, and you're actually in the Muslim world.
But here's the thing, like for me, I think other people were nervous, but for me, I just never got all that. And so I said, okay, hi, the perfect place to premiere this movie is here, and we're being invited here. So if anything doesn't kind of expel this controversy than that, I don't know how people can see that it's not controversial or at all kind of insulting to anybody from the Muslim world. We're going there to premiere it.
Right.
They wouldn't have asked us here if that was any way true. So I thought it was a really nice kind of rectification of all that nonsense.
Excellent. And then tell us a little bit about the press junkets for this tour, because it's a little bit different from your other films, all the other kind of films you've done before. How is going on the press junkets throughout the country?
It's interesting because with this movie you have, the mainstream press, just everybody that everybody talks to, and then you have the whole South Asian press, and then you have the Jewish press. So you have all these different elements of people that you're talking to that are coming from a different angle, and I enjoyed it very much. I like talking to intelligent people, and most of them were quite smart and brought some interesting things to the table that I haven't experienced just because of where they're coming from or what they're writing for. And religion is obviously a very hot topic, and that's obviously brought up a lot. So that's interesting to hear what, they're kind of coming from and what their issues were. And once they see the movie, they understood it in a way that made me feel better, because I could feel at peace with the fact that, okay, they got it, or if they didn't, then you maybe try to explain it, and some people will get it, and some people don't, and you just kind of be like, okay, It was fun.
What about the Arabic press? Can you talk a little bit?
We did have quite they were so interesting because they were so excited to see people that kind of look like them and talk about them and their kind of culture in a positive way. And made the Americans kind of look like idiots for once, and made fun of how silly we are. That it was really refreshing for them. Yes, for sure. Excellent.
And then describe how it was for you as an actress seeing the film now with an actual audience.
It's nice to have the energy of people versus industry. Going to a premiere, like the LA premiere, is different because they're coming to your premiere, so they're probably going to say nice things to you. Hopefully they mean it. You never really know. So when you're just in an audience of people that bought tickets, like in Dubai, or if you just go to the movies, like me and my friends did, it's nice to sit around people that have nothing to do with you, really, and you kind of get what they're feeling. And there's an energy. And, it's exciting when people laugh at things, or see something in something that I didn't even get, or someone laughs at something different this place than that place, and what kind of translates into different people's, moods or times. It's cool.
One last question I have regarding the movie is, tell us just a little bit about working with Albert. I mean, how was it like working with him?
Albert, he's as funny as you could imagine him to be, and he's as smart as you could imagine him to be, but what struck me really about him more than anything is how committed he still is to the process of filmmaking and the work and acting, and being where he is in his career. I don't know what I expected. I don't know why I wouldn't have expected this, but I guess I was completely just amazed at how excited he was to work on it, and go through the process that actors do. I'm hoping that at that point in my career I'll be as excited about the script or doing the work that actors do before we come into rehearsal, or whatever the case may be, to do it. And talking to him about his experiences in his career and hearing his kind of take on that whole thing in the business, I learned more than I have ever in a concentrated period of time.
Regarding the ups and downs, your casting sessions and auditions.
Yes.
Any specific incidents you can share with us without saying any names or too much?
Well, there's one that I've talked about, it seems a lot lately, because everyone always brings up my ethnicity. And I explained how when I was in school just working on the training and the work, I never thought that it would be something that was talked about so much, and it was naive of me because I didn't believe that I wouldn't be able to just be an actor, and all of a sudden well, what are you, and what's your background, and you're an Indian actor, where's your accent, and that whole thing. And I remember my very first meeting, I tell this story often, about meeting with a manager, and my very first one that I was hoping to sign with in New York, and we had this great meeting and a great conversation, and I really felt like we had this vibe, and at the end of it, she said, great, you know, so okay, which one of your names do you want to change? And I had no idea what she meant. And I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, you have to change one of them. You can't have Sheetal Sheth. I mean, never going to work. And I was like, wow. And we didn't work together. Needless to say, obviously. I ended up realizing very quickly and have continued to have to make changes in my team and in my life when people don't see things the way I do. Unfortunately, I see the world, I think, differently from a lot of people. Unfortunately for me, I think in a more kind of open way, and maybe it's made things slower and harder for me, but there's certain things I won't kind of sacrifice.
There's an interesting email. There's an interesting email and an interesting article that's been going around. I've got you on camera, so you can't escape. So I'm going to actually bring this up. Apparently, this is kind of going around, and there's this article that Sheetal Sheth would not get a breast job or breast augmentation. And I just want to kind of put you on camera and have you just speak kind of frankly about that whole article and just a little bit about kind of your thoughts behind it.
It's funny because it's funny to me that there was a discussion that I had with a round table actually about the business and body image and stuff, and it was probably a 45-minute conversation about the movie and the work. And this was something that was 5 minutes of this conversation. And of course it becomes the headline. And it's actually not exactly what I said. It was, they'd said, what is it like as a young woman, and kind of the thinness and this and the boobs and this whole image that comes along with certain young ingenue types. And I had said that thankfully I have a really great kind of self-image because I was never the big girl ever in my life. And when I came to LA, all of a sudden, I'm not the smallest girl, which is fine with me. I actually prefer looking a little kind of tomboyish or kind of a little bit more just normal. And I don't think I look good being a size 0 at all. And a lot of times people would comment to me, you know, if you're a size 0, you could do this or you could do that. And if you get boobs, you could do this and this and that. In passing. It wasn't like the article said where I was sitting there with agents and they're like, we're not going to sign you unless you get breasts. Or anything like that. It was never that extreme. It was just something that I've experienced in these ideas they have of women being a certain type and being size 0s. Huge boobs, kind of ill-proportioned, but that idea of Jessica Rabbit that kind of floats around. And I just kind of commented on it, and I joke a lot, so maybe they took it in a different way. But yes, there have been people that have suggested changing that image part of me, but it's just not me, you know, and I'm quite happy with what I have, and I think I'm proportionate, and it's all good, and it became this thing. And I think the saddest thing actually about that, for me, seeing what happened, is the fact that, like I said, it was 5 minutes of a 45-minute conversation that I actually thought was quite interesting, and that became the headline. I mean, come on.
We are